I sometimes think that our knowledge of the brain is like our knowledge of the ocean. There's so much to know, and we know only this much. There's so much work to do.
Many of us fear memory loss. I know I do. How can we protect ourselves?
So I'm anxious to do the test and see what my brain activity is like.
Here's your brain.
Look at that.
This is a story on the brain business.
This is an enormous industry. For people out there right now, it's probably very difficult to differentiate between what are really good scientific tools and where they're being taken for a ride.
Join me and more than 50 Canadians as we test brain training games.
Is it my brain getting better, or I'm just getting used to the games?
I'll try an unproven treatment.
So if you want to just close your eyes.
Why are you selling hope?
We're not selling anything. We're trying to help people.
It's my journey into the world of mind games.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Tom Harrington.
How y'all doing? I'm emceeing or hosting the Walk for Memories. It's an Alzheimer's Society of Toronto fundraising event to raise money for Alzheimer's care, Alzheimer's research, dementia, that sort of thing. So diseases of the brain. Alzheimer's is, to me, the cancer of the 21st century. It's going to kill a lot of people.
Does everybody have a shoelace?
I lost both my parents to the disease, and I lost my father-in-law to it as well.
The story behind the yellow shoelace is kind of cool. First of all, it's a shoelace because you need a pair of shoes to walk. It's a walk, and yellow represents hope.
It's always a difficult day because it just reminds me of what happened to my family. So it's emotional, but it's also really uplifting and powerful because so many people are affected by the disease.
Second of all, we tie the shoelace to our finger because it's always the way we remember things, and it's the idea is to remember those who suffer from Alzheimer's and those who deal with those who are suffering from Alzheimer's and other dementias. So we tie the shoelace to our finger. And finally, the other part of it I like, which people don't always think about, is you can't tie this shoelace on your finger by yourself. We have to rely on other people to help us. Someone has to do it for you. In other words, we're all in it together.
And you don't almost realize that until you come to an event like this and you see how many people are touched by it. So you feel a sense of companionship and community. Everybody's been through it, knows what it's like. So I think about my father and my mother and how when we look at the disease now and people talk about how do you ward it off and what are the things to stop it, and people say, if you're using your brain creatively and that way, that will help. Well, I had a mother who was a singer and a performer and a music teacher, and I had a father who was a poet and a journalist and a writer, and they both got Alzheimer's. So it's a mystery, and we have to solve the mystery.
This is where my journey begins. My producer Virginia and I are off to Western University in London, Ontario. I did my journalism degree here actually, so it's a trip down memory lane.
All looking very familiar. That way is the Seeps, which is the CP Hotel. It's a very famous drinking hangout for Western students. I don't know if it still is. It certainly was when I was here. And the clock tower there, that's Middlesex College. That's where the journalism school was when I was here. The gate to the university is on the left. Yeah, this is the entrance.
We've come here to try and separate fact from fiction.
There is memory loss that comes with age that's typical. It's trying to separate what's normal memory loss from what could be serious memory loss. People are really desperate for answers around memory, and I think there's a real fear out there.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid about my own memory, because I even notice these days I forget more often than I used to.
I do believe there's an industry growing up around that fear.
A big part of that industry is brain training games.
I want to be healthy, so to me that's diet, exercise, relaxation, but I want to make sure my brain stays healthy too.
Lumosity is the most popular one out there.
Any brain can get better.
It's a series of online games set up to exercise your mind, help your memory, but will it?
Start training with Lumosity.com right now and discover what your brain can do.
I'm going to find out.
How long have you been working here at the Institute?
This is Adrian Owen. He's the head of cognitive neuroscience and imaging at the university's Brain and Mind Institute. A pioneer in his field, Adrian's going to put me through a battery of tests to figure out whether lumosity works for reasoning, planning, memory. I'm going to be spending a lot of time with Adrian over the next month.
Adrian, first of all, let's talk about what I'm going to be going through today.
Yeah, well, we're going to put you through a procedure known as functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI. That's just a fancy way of scanning your brain and seeing how your brain activates while you're solving quite a difficult series of mental problems. We're hoping you've got a normal brain, a normal healthy brain. We're going to use it just to see which parts of your brain are involved in these higher level cognitive functions.
I have to take everything metal out of my pockets. Magnetized cards, phone. Nervous. I'm nervous. Never had anything like this before. Change. Ring. I'm anxious to do the test, though, to see what my brain activity is like. Watch. I've got little metal things on my jeans. Does that matter? Last thing, the boots. You know, it's a new frontier for me in terms of my own health, but also for our show and the kind of story we're doing. Okay. It's a little tight in there and I'm a little claustrophobic. I think I'll be okay. I hope. There's a lot going on inside this machine. The instructions, buttons you're supposed to press.
Hi Tom, how are you doing in there?
Or not supposed to press.
All's good. It's a little noisy, but not too bad. I've been communicating.
Tom, you don't have to squeeze the ball to talk back to me.
Say again. Did I get in the last part?
You don't have to squeeze the ball, you can just talk.
Oh, I understand. Okay. That's the alarm we're pressing.
That's the alarm, yes, it's been quite entertaining in here.
I'm not panicking.
All right, here we go.
Adrian gives me a bunch of visual problems I'm supposed to try solving. In between each, I'm told to relax. Not easy.
Some nice visual activity, yeah. We know that he's looking at complex patterns on the screen, and we would expect the visual cortex of his brain to be activated in response to that information. I'm particularly interested in this part of the brain, that's in the frontal lobe. He has a lot of activity there. That's a part of the brain that we know is involved in solving complex problems. This is pretty good. That's it. Tom, fantastic. Very good scan. How are you feeling?
Good. That's very challenging. It's kind of like doing a crossword puzzle while someone's vacuuming.
Excellent. We're going to come and get you out now.
All this prodding is the first step in my personal test of lumosity.
Here's your brain.
Look at that. Anything unusual that you saw?
No, I think you have a very nice looking brain, actually. These are slices through your brain. Yeah, we can just go all the way up right in the frontal lobe. And you really had a lot of activity right in there. The red and the yellow, that's the parts of your brain that were most active when you were solving problems. Very few of us have very simple lives these days, and we know that the frontal lobes are really crucial for multitasking. If you don't have good frontal lobes, then it's very difficult to deal with the complexities of everyday living.
Lumosity sort of wakes up my mind. It's not just a bunch of random games.
Lumosity says it uses cutting-edge neuroscience, so I'm going to try it out and see if it improves anything. So after a month of brain training games, might we see any differences when we do this again?
If there's something in this brain training, you should do a lot better a month from now, and we should see some brain changes that will indicate that improvement.
Okay, I've had my first MRI. Now Adrian and his team need a baseline test.
Tom, this is Tram.
Hey Tram, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Tram's going to give you a thorough cognitive workout.
All right, Tom, so I'm going to walk you through each of the 13 tasks now.
It's a series of problem-solving tasks set up to test my planning, concentration, and memory.
For this task, you're going to hear...
Adrian helped create Cambridge Brain Sciences so people can assess how well their brains work. Anyone can take it. I can't type. It's scientific, and it's free. After a month of lumosity, I'll be taking this test again so Adrian can see if there's any change. I don't think I can get this one. No, I just lost my concentration there. Well, let me tell you, his test is really tough. Tired. It's not enough just to have me test lumosity. I want a large group of people to take our test. That way, our results can be more definitive. Music inspires the mind. So who better to ask for help than the Ontario Philharmonic Orchestra?
Hey folks, my name is Tom Harrington. I'm the co-host of Marketplace, and I'm here to recruit you guys in a little test for our show. How many of you know someone affected by memory loss, Alzheimer's, dementia, that sort of thing? Wow, that's a lot. That's almost half the orchestra. I have a challenge for you. You've probably heard about Lumosity. It's a brain game that you can play on your phone or on your computer. Play Lumosity for us. See if it really makes a difference. I'm doing Lumosity too, just so you know. I'm doing this test.
As part of the test, we'll need to play at least 3 times a week, 15 minutes each time.
So, are you game to try our little test? Yes! In unison. That was good. Okay, so I should let you get back to playing. The music is beautiful. My father loved Beethoven. So, I want to listen.
3, 4.
Music is such a powerfully evocative trigger of memory. When you grow up in a house full of music, which I did, and it was everything from pop, from the Beatles to classical to opera, hearing Beethoven in particular, which I so much identify with my father, is very powerful and just takes me back to a kid and hearing the music from wafting up from the basement or the radio in the kitchen. The appreciation of music is a great thing to have, but it's also it's bittersweet because it's a reminder of what I lost.
Being a musician, my focus has to be on all the time. I'll be very interested to see the results, to be honest with you, because I'm very aware as I'm getting older that I want to stay as mentally alert as I am now, but I know that I'll reach the point where it won't be.
So, thanks for helping us out today. You guys sound great. You really do.
Lumosity costs about $15 a month
Don't know about that $15 a month.
and says it has 70 million members.
Looks like my LPI is increased.
But is it as cutting edge as they claim?
Oh no, forgot about that one.
We're starting our test.
No distractions, Chloe.
In the meantime, I'm pushing my mind and body.
Could just doing a spin class actually improve your cognitive performance?
Have you tried brain training games? Tell us your experience on Facebook and Twitter. I've had my first MRI ever to see how hard and well my brain works. Why? I want to see if playing the brain training game Lumosity for a month makes my brain any fitter, my memory and concentration any better. I'm about 2 weeks into my trial run. And back at Western for another first. For me, that is a spin class.
You want to have your seat at your hip bone level. So
hip bone level, okay.
A lot is riding on this next hour.
Just so you know, I've never done a spin class before.
Well, I've got a doozy prepared for you guys.
Oh, fabulous! I'm so happy.
There's a lot of evidence that says being physically fit, especially later in life, is good for our brains.
Hi Tom.
How you doing? Good to see you again.
Good. This is my father, Terry.
Hey Terry, how are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Freshly imported from England, I understand?
Yes, that's right.
Welcome.
Just a week.
Adrian Owen is a neuroscientist here at Western. His 76-year-old dad, Terry, is doing the spin class with me.
Do you ever think about memory loss? You ever worried about it?
I find it difficult sometimes to remember names. 10 minutes time I might not remember your Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Other things are, long-term memory, not so bad, but short-term memory, I do struggle with sometimes.
I think there's all those little moments where you kind of go, I think I'm telling the same story to the same person a day later. Yeah. So I'm a bit wary when I think I'm repeating myself.
Yeah, I do repeat myself sometimes, I'm sure.
You do, yes. One of the interesting things about aging is that you have to think, have I always been like this? I mean, in many cases, when you think about, I don't have a terribly good memory. It turns out I've never really had a terribly good memory. So if it's just I'm now worried about it because I'm approaching 50. And, I think it's important to put it in the context of your entire life. Are you really deteriorating or are you actually at the same not too good a level that you were always at?
What is the science saying so far about physical fitness and brain fitness, for lack of a better word?
Actually, there's quite a lot of accumulating evidence that remaining physically active and physically fit, particularly in later life, is beneficial for cognitive performance. What we're doing here is a sort of a short-term study. We're interested in, well, could it actually work in one session? Could just doing a spin class actually improve your cognitive performance?
Are you going to be spinning with me?
I hope so, yes.
Be kind.
Behind you.
Behind me? Yeah, just be kind. Don't show me up, okay?
Make allowance for my age.
Let's get at it. Ready?
Yeah. How long we got?
Only another 45 minutes or so.
Oh, that's fine, no problem.
I'm curious. You know, I find when I go to the gym, and I usually go in the mornings, that I'm sharper, a bit more on when I come into work. I'm kind of interested to see if there's a correlation.
How you doing? Still going?
Yeah.
He's doing pretty well. I'm impressed that he's keeping up with Tom. You know, and he's at least twice Tom's age.
Your son is a cruel fellow, isn't he? I'm sweating, and my bum is killing me. But I'm off with the other spinners to take Adrian's online test. Okay, part 2. They all did it right before the spin class. We're all doing it again to see if our brains work any better.
We ran a pretty rigorous experiment, and what I'm really interested in is whether remaining physically fit is as good as any of these complex brain training exercises that many people are thinking that they should be doing.
Adrian wondered if a short, intense burst of exercise would make a difference. It doesn't really, and he's disappointed. But that's science, he says. You experiment, you get the result, you try something else. All right, thanks. Let's go. Let's get out of these wet things, eh, Terry? In Oakville, Ontario, I'm about to meet a family who, like me, is also testing Lumosity. Hi, Marie. Hi, Tom Harrington from Marketplace. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Come on in.
Thank
I'm
you.
well.
The stakes are high for the Oods. Hey, how you doing, everybody? Hey, hi. Getting old and its impact is no small thing in this family. Today, the March of Time is being celebrated.
Happy birthday to you.
It's Marie's sister Jeannie's birthday. Happens to be mine, too. Wow, you guys. 3 generations of the Oods are on hand.
On the count of 3.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. It's a happy day, but there's a looming cloud for Jeannie and Marie. Their mom had Alzheimer's. So did 3 of their aunts and uncles.
4 out of the 5.
Wow. That must give you pause.
Yes, it's scary. Very scary.
I think it's time we cut our cakes. The Oods are looking for ways to protect themselves through diet and exercise, and looking to the future.
I'm hoping that eventually there's going to be some type of pill, a magic pill that we can just take and say, okay, I'm feeling better.
No magic pill yet, but Lumosity's pitch on social media implies that brain training could delay Alzheimer's, even for people with a genetic risk. Lumosity, I want to show you something. This is from a Facebook post, actually. Notice what it says. Filling your life with intellectual challenges can help keep your brain healthy longer and may delay the onset of Alzheimer's up to 10 years, according to a new study from the Mayo Clinic. What impression did you draw from that?
Delaying up to 10 years, that's kind of a big claim there.
We have this in the family, so it's in the back of my mind, and unless there's concrete facts to say yes, Lumosity and the study, we have proven that there's X amount of people that have not gotten Alzheimer's because of this, I'd be okay. But because we're not there yet, that's false hope, and it's false advertising.
When they put in the Mayo Clinic and research from the Mayo Clinic, it makes you feel like it's legit, but you wonder, is this Lumosity or is this, what is the study exactly? What exactly were they collecting data on?
The studies kind of show that if you do these exercises, you might delay the onset or whatever. So it's trying to link that game towards the study. It's kind of gray, I would say. It's borderline believable, but it's a bit of a stretch.
The Oods are onto something. Turns out the study to which Lumosity is referring has nothing to do with brain training games. It's all about intellectual challenges such as your job, your education, activities outside work, having a good social life, playing games, learning music, those sorts of things. It has nothing to do with brain training games at all. And that's pretty much how the Oods already live. It's curiosity that made them want to help me with the Lumosity test.
Gotta play my Lumosity here.
And at the very least, they say,
Waitress game.
it's fun.
Speed one.
Yeah, the speed ones
I like
are good too, yeah.
the coffee one. You have to make it. I just discovered that one today, and like I used to also the waitressing one. So I used to be a waitress. So for me, I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm still stuck at this.
That one for memory
But
is really good.
I really like.
Yeah.
I've always, when I'm in restaurants, I remember everybody's order.
Yeah.
I ace that game.
I get so excited when I move up a level or something. I'm like, yes, maybe I'm getting better. You know.
Going back to the whole topic of like if you feel like it makes a difference, they give you on the website the like index, the score. What is it? LPI.
LPI.
Yeah.
So like you see that getting better and better each day.
Right.
But is it my brain getting better, or I'm just getting used to the games? Like, is it other factors? What's actually happening there?
And that's the key question, really. Will the game give us an edge? Will our memory improve? I'm just over halfway into my month-long Lumosity test. And I'm about to meet a woman facing Alzheimer's head-on.
I think she's awfully brave. Not only to face what she's facing, but to talk to us about it.
I really try to get the message out that there's life after diagnosis.
Why this episode matters to me. Find out more at cbc.ca/marketplace. "54 people, including me, are putting the brain training game Lumosity to the test to see if it will give us an edge, make our brains fitter. There's a ton of stuff on the web around memory and ways you might protect yourselves, including all sorts of tests you can take to see if you're at risk for dementia.
Identifying your personal risk for Alzheimer's.
So I decide to try out a few.
Oh, this is going to be good. Well, that was a challenging test. That was bad.
This site spits out an unsettling prognosis.
According to this, I have a moderate chance of getting Alzheimer's, and that my brain is 5 years older than my current age.
So where does that leave me? Is an online quiz a good way to figure my risk?
Hello. Hi there.
I'm off to Vancouver to meet someone who's done a study about online tests for Alzheimer's, the most common form of dementia. On my way, gotta play my Lumosity. At the University of British Columbia, I meet Julie Robillard. She's an assistant professor of neurology here.
Hey Julie, how are you? I did several self-assessment tests that are found online. Some of the ones that I found did make me kind of anxious because I was having difficulty absorbing the information and even understanding how I was supposed to answer that.
Yeah, I wish you would have come to me before you took the test, because I would have advised you to not do that. Some of the tests are difficult to understand. This is one of the criteria we looked at. They vary greatly in quality. So in our sample, we looked at 16 different tests, and we found a huge spectrum of quality, even in just how the tests presented themselves. However, it can be really difficult for the internet user to determine which is the good one and which is the bad one, because something that might seem wacky to you might seem perfectly legitimate to someone else.
Why are they going online and not just seeing their doctor and asking some questions? Why not do that?
I think a lot of people don't necessarily have access to a family physician that they can immediately sort of go to with every concern. Going online is free and convenient and easily accessible, so I think a lot of people will go to the internet as sort of a first step.
Some of these tests could scare you into thinking you might get the disease, or fool you into thinking there could be an easy fix. It's a tough line to walk for researchers like Julie.
How can we convey risk in a way that's helpful, and that's not going to give false hope, and that's not going to give false alarm? We're really recommending that people consult their physicians before they go on to take any kind of online self-assessment.
Alzheimer's is called the long goodbye because the person with the disease fades away very slowly. So you have a very long time to say goodbye until the point where they don't recognize you anymore. I'm here to meet a woman named Roxanne Berry, and she's staring at Alzheimer's right in the face far sooner than she should have to.
Roxanne's 52 years old. She's got early onset Alzheimer's. I don't know what to expect. Will meeting Roxanne remind me of what my parents went through? What I saw firsthand?
Hi, Roxanne.
Hello.
Tom Harrington, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Tom.
Welcome in.
This is my husband, Michael.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Come on in.
Thanks.
It's breakfast at the Verys, and Roxanne's husband is making what they call a brain shake.
I start with a banana.
I've always had a smoothie for breakfast.
Some frozen fruit.
So it's just now putting in a few extra ingredients.
Chia seeds.
You think it's worth doing this sort of thing, even if it's an extra few dollars a month?
This isn't too expensive.
Coconut oil helps feed the brain.
We don't expect it to be a miracle. It's just to give us a little bit of hope. And even if it doesn't do anything good, it's not hurting.
There's no real evidence it works.
I'm very pragmatic about the expectations with it.
But for Roxanne, it makes her feel like she's doing something positive.
You know, there's not a lot out there to work with, so we're trying just to keep me healthy, my brain healthy for as long as possible.
Pour it in the cup.
It's really good.
You're not going to share?
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Cheers to good health.
It's to good health.
When I think about what Roxanne's going through, I'm not sure I could be so brave.
Not bad.
I don't.
Yeah.
Here, Tom, I'd like to show you pictures of my children.
Imagine being told you have an incurable, fatal disease, but there's not even a treatment.
We were just shocked and probably still a bit of denial.
Yes. Roxanne's type of Alzheimer's is genetic. I ask if her kids have considered genetic testing.
I don't want them to do that at all. It's not that because I caught it early, my prognosis is going to be anything better.
There's any treatment for you?
There's nothing. It's like there's this clock just relentlessly, always ticking in the background, right? But because I'm still fairly high functioning, still fairly independent, I'm making lemonade. I'm making a lot of lemonade.
Roxanne's idea of brain training is a board game she plays with her husband. Today, she's teaching me to play.
The goal is to get to 10 points.
Okay.
And you build roads, settlements, and cities.
So planning, strategy, reasoning, all those sorts of things.
Yes.
You're working on those all the time with this game.
All the time. Did I roll?
No.
There you go, short-term memory loss. Good example of it right there. So this is just the huge unity, you know, when you're playing a game together, talking, keeps the social skills up. And it takes, you know, a little bit of time so that it's not something that's, you know, quickly done and engages me for a while.
I got nothing.
Waste of money card.
It's interesting you talk about the social aspect of playing a game like this. I'm playing Lumosity right now, and it's a game of isolation, pretty much.
That's not fun. See, and this is enjoyable for me. Maybe not as much for my husband because he tends to lose or. But this is definitely fun.
Somehow I feel better just this one moment.
Oh, did I? I did that.
Yeah.
Roxanne's long goodbye has already begun. There won't be a cure in time for her. But she hopes someday there will be one for her kids and grandkids.
You have some cards, honey. Congratulations.
There you go.
It's a good job. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Watching them interact and how much she relies on him and how much more she's going to have to rely on him and how strong he's going to have to be, it really came out just watching them together.
It is a fight the Verys can't win. And I'm scared so many of us will face the same battle. I'm at a conference in Toronto where some of the best minds are trying to unravel the mysteries of the brain. But even here, there are flags being raised about false hope. I'm going to connect with a neurologist.
Nice to meet you.
This is Dr. Alex-Henri Bargava. Alex, who's based in Victoria, BC, emailed Marketplace last fall, telling us about a chain of clinics pitching what sounds like a hopeful treatment for dementia.
Why did you get in contact with the show?
I had a patient who had a young onset dementia and was at really the advanced stages, unable to speak in a nursing home, and family looking desperately for answers. Took him in, was assessed, and...
What did it do for them?
Not much. Yeah.
By not much you mean anything?
Not much, yeah.
He says it's part of a trend that worries him.
It's among a number of treatments that are being marketed at patients right now where they're really trying to sell on hope. And knowing that conventional medicine doesn't have a lot to offer in terms of cures, people are grasping at straws.
Time to see what Alex is talking about.
For this one, we actually have 5 sensors. One that'll go right in the middle of your head.
I visit a business selling hope.
You're asking people to pay a lot of money
$2,500?
on an act of faith.
And I'll find out if Lumosity does anything for our memory. Do you know someone affected by Alzheimer's? Share your stories on Facebook and Twitter. I'm trying to separate fact from fiction when it comes to improving our brains.
We've met some quite amazing people so far on this journey.
A neurologist has flagged a clinic using a questionable treatment, a technology it says can help with memory loss, even dementia.
But now we're going to meet some people in Victoria who I have a lot of questions for, and I hope they have some answers.
I'm in Oak Bay, heading to the Valentis Clinic, a small chain of 3 in Western Canada.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Mary Lynn. How are you?
Great to meet
Nice to meet you.
Mary Lynn Bellamy-Willems is the co-owner of Valentis. She's offered me a tour.
Neurofeedback is designed to provide direct feedback to the brain itself.
Valentis claims the technology it uses helps people with all sorts of brain problems.
That's fine.
The majority of their clientele have post-concussion symptoms, but they also claim to help with memory loss and dementia.
For this one, we actually have 5 sensors. One that'll go right in the middle of your head.
A minimum package of 9 sessions is $2,500.
So I'm just going to tilt you back.
Okay.
A little zero gravity action for you there.
Where's the martini?
Do that.
The technology they're using is called brainwave optimization.
So you can just close your eyes. You don't have to think of anything in particular.
Kind of like meditation.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm told my brainwaves are being turned into musical tones and played back to me to recalibrate my brain. During my session, Chris Hammer, the clinic's psychologist, shows up.
Our story is focusing on memory and dementia, memory loss, that sort of thing. How does your treatment or your process, the brain optimization, help that?
We don't know. Again, the majority of our clientele have post-concussive symptoms, and a lot of times that equates to problems with memory. We know that the literature with these neural technologies are starting to show through studies that there is a very strong potential, and it's all about the neuroplasticity of the brain, right? The brain's ability to rewire and organize itself, and then kind of anything can happen. So there's some positive effects being shown, but not enough for us to be confident at this point to say, yes, this will help.
We've talked to people in the medical community, particularly the doctor who's concerned about the patient who came to see you who had dementia, fairly advanced, and still took the treatment and paid money when that treatment clearly wouldn't help him at all. Why was he even in the program? Why wouldn't you just send him away?
Why didn't we send him away? Because the potential is there, and it's
not dementia, it isn't. What the science is saying is that this process right now doesn't really have an effect. And when you say it's potential, if I'm desperate, then I'll reach out for that. It's like selling hope. Why are you selling hope?
Well, we're not selling anything. We're trying to help people. We're trying to help people improve in ways that they are struggling.
You're asking people to pay a lot of money.
$2,500?
On an act of faith.
We're not giving them research that says it's going to work in the case of dementia or memory. We're not doing that. We're being as honest with them as possible in giving them the information that we have, allowing them to make their own decision to decide whether it's something that they would like to try or not.
If the potential's there, do you want to try it or do you want to wait for the research to catch up? And that's a very personal decision, but I always want to educate them about what it is. That's primary.
Again, when the person's in the room and they are searching for answers, like you said, and they are maybe desperate even, when you answer that question about the treatment or the process in terms of dementia, and you say, I don't know, the default position of that person is, well, let's try it. Rather than if you said no, they'd say, well, I'm walking out and I don't have money out of my pocket. That's the key moment, right?
No, but that's their choice after being educated about it. I'm not going to hold crystals and say, run these crystals over you, and oh, let's try it, they might work. I'm talking about brain science and plasticity, right? Like, that's different. Just know about it and make your decision. Like,
I have to say, I'm really uncomfortable with the idea of selling the potential to help your brain before the science is there. It's late, and I'm at the end of my month-long Lumosity trial. That means I have to take this final test for comparison, so we can see the differences before and after I played Lumosity. More than 50 Canadians have been testing the popular brain training game with me.
I'm getting better at the game, Jeff. I'm getting them all wrong.
Lumosity says it's a leader in the science of brain training, that it can improve our cognitive performance.
I think what Lumosity probably did for me was make me a better video game player.
But will it help in our daily lives?
I did find that if I played Lumosity and then immediately went and practiced, I was super focused.
And at $15 a month, is it worth it?
Are you interested in the results? Yes. I bet you are.
We're about to find out. Are you worried about your memory? Share your thoughts on Facebook and Twitter. More than 50 Canadians, from musicians to a family, even me, are all playing the brain training game Lumosity to see if it helps improve our mental activity, even our memory. I've done my final cognitive test and I'm heading back to Western for my second MRI.
It's been a long process. We've been doing this for a month, and a lot has happened in that 1 month.
To find out if Lumosity's had any effect on me.
I'm very anxious to see the results, not only mine, but our group, to see if anything really made a difference.
Hi.
How you doing? Good to see you again. Good, thanks.
You too.
I've been keeping neuroscientist Adrian Owen pretty busy.
Adrian, since my first MRI, I've been playing brain training games for weeks, and now I'm back for MRI number 2 for comparison. What are you going to be looking for today?
Well, we're going to have you do exactly the same task that you did a month ago. Hopefully you've got a bit better, and hopefully we'll be able to tell from the patterns of activity in your brain why you've got better.
Okay, well, let me go in there and give it a shot.
The puzzles don't seem as hard this time. Has Lumosity actually made a difference?
Tom, hi, it's Adrian again. How are you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah, easier than a month ago?
I think I did better than a month ago. I'm not sure.
Well, second time in, second time out. Can you tell if my brain has a bit more of an edge than it did a month ago?
Well, the good news as far as I'm concerned is that we saw a pattern that was very similar to the pattern of activity that we saw a month ago. So at least we know there's some consistency in your brain. The parts of your brain that were activating were solving the problems a month ago are still doing the same thing today.
I'm dying to find out the results of our Lumosity test, our look at brain training games. Big group of people, including me. What did you find out?
Well, should we talk about you first? We assessed you on 13 different cognitive tests. These are pretty sensitive tests. If you've changed, if you've got better, we should be able to pick it up. If you've got worse, we should be able to pick it up. Well, unfortunately, you deteriorated on 6 of the 13 tests. Very slightly, I'm not going to make much of that, but you certainly didn't get any better. Overall, you're about the same. You were slightly worse on a couple, slightly better on a couple, but mostly the same. I think if this really worked, you should be able to go out in the world and feel cognitively fitter, shouldn't you? Isn't it, I would have thought you would by now. I mean, certainly if you'd spent the last month going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week and working out, I think after a month you'd be feeling physically better. You'd actually be able to feel the differences. And I think it says something that cognitively you don't feel any different.
Now it's time for the big reveal. We bring some of our brain gamers together to let them in on the final results.
Welcome all. Nice to see you. And thank you for taking part in a little experiment. Are you interested in the results? Yes. I bet you are. Okay, so the first thing I want to do though is I want to talk a little bit about what the experience was like. How would you describe the overall experience of challenging yourself this way for this period of time?
My experience was that sometimes I would feel like I totally bombed that test, and then they would tell me that my my score was the highest. I'm like, I don't know how they figured that out.
I found it frustrating because it felt like I was doing worse all the time, not getting better.
Certain games would come up and you go, oh, I hate this game.
I don't think it made me a better bassoonist, but if I played Lumosity and then immediately went and practiced, I was super focused.
I felt the same way. Now if I'm doing a task, I tend not to multitask. I'll like focus in on one task and finish it completely.
I don't think it necessarily reflects everyday real life. But I mean, this is what we're here for, to discover whether this actually has made a difference in our brain.
And in our business, that's called a segue. So, here are the results you've long been waiting for. The first graph you're going to see is your pre-training test result.
We have 54 people who've been training as you have been. We tested them on the same 13 cognitive tests. We've tested them again. We can do statistics and look at the difference.
You play Lumosity for several weeks. You take the test again, and here it comes. It's going, and
What's really incredible is that, again, there are no statistical differences. Across those 54 people, if you compare them on planning, on attention, on executive function, on reasoning, not a single test changed in any significant way. There were minor differences upwards, minor differences downwards. Mostly everything was exactly the same.
Now, Lumosity says you have to play longer than a month to see results.
You could always say, well, if I trained more, if I trained for more every day, if I trained for 6 months or a year, perhaps I'd have seen the differences. But the important point is there aren't even any trends here. There's not even a hint of an effect.
We would have the same result if we played longer. Is that what you're saying?
That's what all the scientific research says, that if you play this game for any length of time, the results will be pretty much the same. What conclusions are you drawing?
So I gotta tell you, Lumosity wouldn't talk to us on camera. No one available, they said. But they did send us a bunch of studies. We reviewed them all. Bottom line, there's no independent scientific evidence their games will benefit you in your daily life.
Do you think brain training games are worth the money?
No. Because there's stuff you could do for free.
Over the past month, I've discovered that in the end, there is no easy answer. But the people I've met along the way can teach us the most because they're already doing the right things. Regular exercise and a good diet. Playing games together.
Squeezing, sour, lemonade, lemon juice. Down.
Or holding on to simple pleasures to help make the memories last as long as possible. As for me, I don't know where my journey will lead next. But one thing is clear. When it comes to keeping our memories intact, we cannot do it alone.
I'll post that, and you get all kinds of new followers.
Powerful story. What a way to end the season. We've shared some memorable moments with you this season. Here's a look back at some of them.
Audience, what are you voting on?
When it comes to online reviews, how much can you really trust them?
By the time OJ reaches your table, this miracle of nature has become a miracle of manipulation.
Marketplace investigates pharmacy errors coast to coast.
It's their job to check the interactions. The pharmacist didn't do that.
We test how far I can get on 1 tank of gas.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Night On claims to be effective. Looks real, but we made it up to find out if approval from Health Canada is a license to deceive. Yeah, that's definitely a bite.
When it comes to similar items, who's paying more, women or men? We're about to find out in this battle of the sexes.
Karen Jacobson likes to keep her eye on the ball. What was your favorite story? Share your pick with us on Facebook, Twitter, or send us an email. We'll be back in the fall with new stories. Until then, from everyone at Marketplace, thanks for joining us. Take care.